All right, we are wrapping up Iron Gold. What I liked, what I didn't like, and just kind of talking about it. So there will be spoilers. I know that going in. Um, Iron Gold. So this is the second series. He wraps up the first series, the first trilogy with Morningstar, and this is getting the second series, which I believe there are 4 books right now that we know of in that second series. Iron Gold, you get 4 different point of views, which in the first book, everything is told through Darrow's point of view, and um, it, they're great books. I think it works well for that first series. Here, the 4 point of views that you get are Darrow again, and his story. We don't have a lot of Mustang in this book. She's kind of not really seen a lot, or Victor really. And then you have Ephraim, who's a gray. He's like I don't know, he was a legionnaire, I believe, at one point, and now he's kind of like just a mercenary or bounty hunter, more or less, and he's being blackmailed by the syndicate to do things. And then you have Lyria, who's a red, who escapes. She gets out of there with the Telemanuses. And then you have Lysander and Cassius kind of are out by themselves. And it's told through Lysander's point of view. And he is the sovereign. He was like the next sovereign, more or less. He's the kid from the end of Morningstar that Cassius takes. Of those, my favorites are probably I like Darrow's story because we already have developed characters there. Severa's with him. Severa's always a favorite of mine. They go anyway. They feel like the Senate is going to be overthrown by the Pax, what are the Vox Populi, kind of like the red everyman like class or like seat of the Senate. Anyway, Darrow leaves. He ends up killing Wolfgar. Not through. He doesn't really want to kill Wolfgar, who's like the bodyguard of his wife, I believe, or he's like the marshal of wherever the hell they live. Anyway, him and Cero, they leave. They decide to go get Apollonius, who is the Minotaur of Venus, I believe. Yeah, it is Venus. Anyway, so he decides he needs to go get Apollonius because he's trying to incite more or less a civil war. He wants to take Apollonius, the Minotaur, and put him back on Venus, I believe, and let him go tear up the Ash Lord's like troops. Little did we know that Apollonius had previously poisoned the Ash Lord years ago. And when they go see the Ash Lord, he's just like a skeleton of a man, which is cool. I was not expecting that, and that was one of the things that I really enjoyed at the end of the book. So, if I have not said so, there are spoilers in what I'm talking about here. But the Ash Lord was different than I was anticipating, so that caught me off guard a little bit. I enjoyed that. I liked the conversation that he had with Darrow. That felt interesting. He knew that the kids were going to be taken, so you can tell that the syndicate was working for the old like gold society, or at least for the Ash Lord. But the Ash Lord's daughter is kind of running things now, and I'm assuming that's where Dark Age will kind of kick off Darrow's storyline. And Darrow goes to Mercury from Venus after, and Severo goes home. They kind of have a falling out at the end of the Iron Gold. Anyway, that's kind of the main takeaways from Darrow's story. Lysander, in short, he goes back. Him and Cassius get captured, and they get taken in front of the Rim Lords. Cassius fights a bunch of people. Cassius's fight is awesome. At the end, he's in real bad shape if he's still alive, and Lysander has opened the vault. They've seen Romulus. Romulus is awesome. His speech and kind of like that series is Romulus would be a hard character to be in real life because he's just super honest, but he was hiding. I guess he wasn't super honest because he's been covering stuff up for a while, but it's been eating at him, you can tell. But he's just very transparent, and even knowing that it leads to his condemnation, right? About the fact that Darrow lied to him, and he believes like he knows Darrow destroyed the Ganymede docks, which is a large part of their industry. Like he did know that, but he has kept that covered up because he didn't want to take his people back to war, which I respect. And I think that I really like Romulus as a character. He was cool, and I really like the Ash Lord. I thought they were both great. But that's Lysander and Cassius's kind of storyline there. And then Lyria and Ephraim, they're kind of connected. Ephraim was married to Trig, who was Holiday's brother, I guess. So he's Holiday's brother-in-law, but he's like an old legionnaire. You don't really like him at first because he's such an asshole, but you realize like he's been through a lot. A lot of his friends have been tortured, they've been killed, and he kind of keeps people at an arm's length. And after like he's just a salty old like warrior, like not the best warrior, but the dude knows all the tricks. Like he knows how to do everything, which I really like. He is probably my favorite new character. I would say him or Apollonius. Apollonius is cool. I like both of them a lot in different ways because they're very different characters. The Minotaur is like just this massive hulking man who's super vain, and he's all about himself. He believes he's like a race alone. He's above gold. He's cool. Anyway, but no, what's his name? Ephraim kind of tricks Lyria. He uses her. Lyria's a red who saves Cavex, and then gets boarded on a ship with her like nephew, I believe. And she's like the fox keeper, the Telemanus fox keeper. But Ephraim tricks her. I can't remember the name he uses, but he befriends her more or less and gives her this necklace. But the necklace is an explosive that kind of kicks off things. It gives Ephraim access to the Telemanuses and the kids that they kidnap. But then Lyria is probably by far my least favorite character, and not that she's a bad character by any means, just the one that I connect and like want to learn. I don't really care to learn a whole lot more about her. I think she could be like I think she'll be a great character actually. Now that I say that, because Mustang has kind of told her like I need your voice in this trial that we're about to have, or this vote. And so I think she's going to become like a much larger person in the Senate, which is interesting. But Ephraim at the end is escaping with the kids. Electra, who is Victora and Severo's daughter, and Pax, who is Mustang and Darrow's son. And we don't know what's going to happen with him. But anyway, kind of a long explanation, I guess, tonight. But Iron Gold. I like this cover. I'm a big fan of cover art. I think it means it means nothing really other than what it is, but I like the cover art. I think it's great. I would say though, I guess, looking at the pictures on the back, that Dark Age is definitely my favorite of those probably, and Lightbringer has a horse on it. I don't like horses really. I know. I grew up with racehorses though, and they're not that fun. And taking care of horses, everybody wants to be like a gentleman farmer, but man, horses are not for me. Anyway, what I was saying, Dark Age is probably my favorite cover, followed by Golden Sun. I like that one, and I like, and then Iron Gold, I guess, would be third. But I do like that it's white, feels fresh and clean, and I like it. Would I recommend Iron Gold? Yes, I would, for sure. 3.5 stars. The ending really kind of bumped it up. I was probably going to give it a 3 because it was. I know we're setting stuff up for the new the next slew of books, but without that, I didn't without some of the things that happened at the end, I don't think I would really be recommending it. I wouldn't recommend it before reading any of the first 3 books. Those are all great. I think they're all excellent. And so I give it like a full star less than any of those, but still enjoyed it. Would recommend. I'm excited to read Dark Age and Lightbringer. I've considered kind of waiting now to read Dark Age and Lightbringer until Red God or whatever the 4th book is, whatever that book is. I've contemplated waiting for a minute because I've got plenty of other stuff to read. So we'll see if that happens. But Pierce Brown, good work, man. Kudos to you. Very, very well done. Yeah, Iron Gold. And really, this is just a documentation of progress and try to take the time to think of what I actually learned and what I liked about it. And man, I have a terrible memory, so anything like this helps me. But if you enjoyed this video at all, please consider helping me out and giving me a like or hitting the subscribe button, because I would appreciate it, and it would mean a lot to me. So thank you.